Okay, what's going on? This is Independent Freedom podcast. Talk about different things that like people are doing that I think is pretty cool and interesting and unique, and that can really help different people and expose people to different types of opportunities that they probably wouldn't be exposed to. And I'm here with Ifeanyi, part of ndewo LLC Real Estates. I'll say what up.
Good afternoon. Good evening. Good evening, everybody.
Yeah, that's awesome. So so how's everything with you though?
No complaints.
Okay, that's good.
No complaints. Everything is good.
That's good. Now I was wondering if you would like to tell people more about like what ndewo LLC is and what it's about, the real estate.
Okay. It's one of my holding companies. I use it to hold assets, as well as I also used to do e-commerce as well. But for the most part, ndewo LLC is the parent LLC, because my other LLCs are seriesed underneath that. I started it in Texas, which is a series state. It's the parent LLC, and each unit or each asset I collect, I spin up a new LLC and tie it to there.
Okay. All right, cool. So like I was curious, like how did you get like started in like real estate?
So one day I was listening to the radio, and I heard one of those ads for the traveling traveling seminar, where they say if you come, they'll give you a free Visa card, and then you go for the $40 Visa card, and you have to pay to go to a seminar. They sell you a seminar. So in a spirit of just why not, I went to that seminar, and I kind of like people what was going on. My parents, or my mom, is a realtor, so she had been kind of in it back when the homes were very cheap here in Detroit.
Okay.
She more so dealt with duplexes, having duplexes. So I saved up a little bit, and I got my first home from the auction, from the Wayne County auction.
Okay.
In 2016. I purchased that home for about $5,500, and then I spent about another $7,000 fixing up. So altogether, I was like 13.5 total actually. Yes, about 13,500 total in that home in 2016. That was the first unit. It was all cash, and I used credit to leverage some of the materials, as I had a Home Depot card, and I used a personal credit card to leverage the flooring. But after that was in, then the tenant was paying $650. She's been paying $650 every month since 2016.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So really, like a house like that now would obviously go for about $850 to $900.
Mm-hmm.
She's been in there for a long time. I just haven't raised the rent on her, but she continued to pay. So I have no problem. She's already paid for the house, practically, or at least cash that's spent on the house.
So have you ever do you just do rentals, or do you do buy and flips?
I myself are doing just in buy and hold.
Okay.
So when this first started, originally my thought was I had to figure out a way how not to pay taxes. So everyone's getting a refund check during tax season. Here I am having to write the government a check for like $2,000, $1,800. So in the midst of trying to do my research on how not to pay the taxes, I realized that attaining assets is a way to reduce my AGI because of the repairs and the things that I have to do with the home. So at first it really started as trying to, wash my taxes. But as I, you get the first one, the second one, and the second one is successful, then you try for the third. You get the third home, you start to deal with like Section 8 or, different type of you learn a different type of things with different tenants. Some tenants, now you can eyeball it, but for the most part, I haven't had too much trouble with tenant occupancy.
So you haven't had too much problem with tenants occupancy. So like, would you say like for the buy and hold for the rental, there's like a high demand. There's a lot of
Yeah,
tenants looking.
there isn't enough. I don't have enough inventory for the amount of tenants that are looking for home places to stay.
Wow.
It's the Detroit market in particular, right? Because the rates have gone up so high downtown, it kind of forces people outbound, right?
Mm-hmm.
So occupancy isn't a problem as long as the house is up to code and it's halfway decent. You won't have problem attaining a tenant.
I see. So like, what about like dealing with tenants, like good tenants, bad tenants? You have any experiences with that?
Well, I don't call them bad tenants. It's just tenants that provide different opportunities, right? Different opportunities to pick up something. But I don't really have bad tenants. Yeah, some get needy from time to time. I mean, knock on wood, but I have had to do one eviction. I have had to do one eviction, but the tenant moved on their own, so it was just for a legal process. But I don't really have bad tenants. I don't really because what happens is when they see the house that when it's finished, it's very difficult for them to find a house of equivalent value at the same rate. You see, because my rental rate is below market by 10%. So I put the market value and I just got 10% lower. So I create a long-term tenant, right? So especially families with kids or individuals with children, especially if it's in an area with a decent school, you find that, you have 5-6 years, no problem. So it's not a location is part of it, but when you think location, you want to think of where are people working, where are the jobs, right? So it's kind of where you want to get in. Like, where are people going to work? So the West Side, like I'm very familiar with the West Side. Between 8 and 6 mile between Greenfield and Schaefer. It's very you have some people that aren't working, hang out and just sit on the porch, but for the most part, people want decent places to live. But nobody wants to live next to abandoned homes or dilapidated neighborhoods. So you go in there and you fix it up, it becomes easier to rent, and you're raising the property value at the same time as you clean the houses up one by one on that same neighborhood. So it's easier to rent if they see you fixing the house next door, and someone is over there say, okay, this one is going to be occupied too. I mean, it's not just moving into an abandoned house, right?
I see. So I'm curious, has the property, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you well.
Okay, I was curious, has the property value gone up like with the houses that you purchased?
Yes, all properties have gone up since I've purchased them. As a matter of fact, the last one I did the last one I finished in July. I purchased for 1,800 and I spent about 20,000 total. I'm only renting it for 825, but the as is market value as of August 25th was like 130.
Wow.
But zip code, right? That zip code is a high zip code, but they have a lot of abandoned homes, a lot of old homes in society. So I probably could go to the bank, and if credit was standing, but I head to the bank, I could probably get about 80 out of there. I could take 80 and I can roll that into two more houses or 3 more houses, and have the rent pay the mortgage on that home. It's called the BRRRR method, or buy, rinse, repeat method. Right? But for me, because these homes are small, right, it's basically cash. I'm just using cash and credit. Like I said, I buy materials because I have a Home Depot credit card, so I use that to buy the materials. But for the most part, it's just the cost of 2 vacations, right? You go to Dubai twice, that's a house. Travel, so it's just it's not that bad, because the way I do it is I want to turn the house around in 4 weeks and get the tenant in as soon as possible.
Okay.
So you don't necessarily have to all at one time. You can take the full 6 months to fix up the house. You don't necessarily have to do it in 4 weeks. But if you have the capital, like you have $12,000 to $15,000 cash, that's for labor. You can get it done with 4 weeks. 4 to 4 weeks, you can get the house up and running.
I see. Okay. I think that's pretty pretty interesting what you're talking about, like with like getting it up and running, and then you said that you use Home Depot for your credit card. But what I was wondering is, like, are you do you fix houses up yourself, or?
I can do some myself, but for the most part, I try to hire local individuals that are local to that neighborhood. So I try to keep the money in so I'll see some kids and whatever. I say, I got a job for you, come clean, what I'm saying? I teach them a little something, try to explain what's going on. You know what I'm saying? Kick it with them a little bit, but, just put them to work. So really, even though I'm establishing a rapport, I got eyes on the building. So I don't necessarily have to be there all the time, right? They let me know what's going on. Like, hey, someone is knocking on your door, or, they watch for people, like if there's someone that's going to go take water tank or something. Like, you try to use people local to that area. It's kind of like hood taxes. You know what I'm saying? Just you keep it local. Sometimes I go to Home Depot and I find workers, or I find people that every time I get business cards, or so I have a slew of individuals that I've tested at different houses to see what they can do, because the catch is, like, sometimes people will say I can do everything, but you want to see their work. So because I have the number of houses I have, I send people to do one thing and then see how they do, and if they do well, I keep them on. I keep them a part of the rotation.
Okay. So I know you were talking about, like, your goal in like 4 weeks. You try to get like a tenant in a new house that you purchased.
We want to get it tenant ready, yeah.
So, like, how do you find tenants?
The best way to do this is to just put it on list it with MLS. You can list it with MLS. They'll pay the first month rent will go to the broker or to the realtor. Once you list it, many people will call.
Wait, say that again. What's it called again?
MLS.
So MLS. Oh, okay, MLS. Okay.
Yeah. So like when you list it, many people will call, and also listing it, because these are abandoned homes, it updates the profile and changes the as-is market value, because originally the as-is market value is based on the abandoned home.
Wow.
When you see the improvements, when you put it on MLS, the pictures are uploaded, and the AVM is now based on the updates. You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
That what changes the value of that helps change the value of the home. So you're gonna list it on MLS. First, they will take the amount of the first month's rent. So when you list it, you're gonna ask for a month and a half deposit to move in. 1 month, and then you'll get a little. But that's a tax deduction. That's advertising. So you just roll that and you take that loss. Well, not law. It's not a loss per se, but it's a deduction that you take off of the business.
Mm-hmm. I see. So, like, hold on 1 second. Oh, so like what you were talking about. So, like, when you first started, like, were you like worried about like how I'm gonna find tenants? Like, what were some of the things that you were worried about when you first started?
When I first started, I was still in Dallas.
Okay.
So I was still in Dallas. I used a week vacation, flew up here, kind of got the first one. The first one I was able to do in a week because I had the cash. So I had multiple people doing many things because I knew I would be out of town. So the first one we got done relatively about a week because it wasn't that bad. Then kind of like piecemealed afterward. But to find tenants at first, we were just using a sign on the street. And then when you put sign in the street, only people in that area are aware of that house that is available. But if you put it on MLS or you list it, you get a slew of you don't have enough. Like I said, I don't have the inventory for the tenants. So like right now, I get tenants word of mouth. Like people will call me and ask me, "Do you have any houses for rent? Do you have any houses?" And I'll tell them like, "Just give me some time. I'm working on one right now, and I'll see what I could do for you." But I don't have enough inventory, and because I'm not big enough, I can't buy all the houses myself. I tell them, there's enough for everybody, but I don't have enough inventory to keep up with the demand of tenants.
So the demand is that high for tenants. Wow.
Yeah, especially now. Like sometimes I wonder like why they won't buy a house, but that's the personal belief. Whoever, some may not believe in this as a vehicle for investment or a vehicle for home ownership. So, that's to each his own. We're providing a service. The service is we have a home, we're fixing up the neighborhoods, and we're providing a affordable place to stay.
Oh, I see.
The trick really is if there's a problem like a minor problem, like something's leaking or you fix it. Fix it within 7 days, right? It's built into the contract. You have 7 days, but if you fix the issue, right? Because in Detroit, I won't say there's some landlords that is strictly about bottom line. Once you're in there, that's your problem. But if you fix things, then this is why I tell you I have like tenants word of mouth because they know, okay, if there's a problem, that landlord fixes it immediately. He doesn't wait.
Okay.
For me, it's a tax, a repair is a tax deduction I can take this year versus depreciating over 26 years. I can take that this year. So it's part of it's like I said, it's reducing my AGI. By daytime, like I said, like everyone, I'm an engineer. You know what the salary is. You're right in the spot where you're not making enough money, but they're saying you're making too much money and you have to pay taxes. I get it. So I reduced my AGI. So now this next year I should be getting earner income credit, right? Because I've done like 4 houses this year. So what I do is I take the depreciation of the house over 26 years, over 26 years. But the repairs, I take all that year. So mind you, the house costs $1,800, right? I spent $20,000 to fix it up, okay. And I have 1099. I have 1099 employees that I can give 1099 to fix it up. So I take that loss this year against any rental income I've made from that home. That negative balance rolls over to now my W-2 position. Yeah. Right now, this is still part-time for me, and that's how I bring my overall AGI down.
That's pretty. Yeah, I see what you're saying. So that you won't be paying as much tax, and then you can most likely get like a credit off of it.
I get a refund check.
Yeah,
I get a refund check, and I take that refund check and I roll it into the next house that following year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then it kind of like this is how it kind of like self-sustain. It's like borrowing money from your future self for today.
That's huge because today the money's worth more now. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's pretty huge. That's a lot of people don't think like that. How'd you learn that? What made you figure that out?
There was a book I read, Tax-Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright.
Tax-Free Wealth?
Yeah, it's one of those rich dad advisor books.
Okay.
So it's called Tax-Free Wealth. And then obviously, the cash flow quadrant. I got a hold of those 2 Audible books. And, I started I'm not a tax professional, but like I'm aware of, like I do my taxes with regular TurboTax business form.
Okay.
Now I know like things to look like, oh, okay, yeah, that's the deduction. Yeah. So I keep I try to keep everything as digital as possible. So at the end of the year, I can pull the reports, like how much I spent, how much I can do, how much in materials, how much in labor. I print out the Cash App receipts, like because a lot of my employees, I pay them with the Cash App or Zelle, so it's a digital tracking.
Mm-hmm.
Not a well, every once in a while, like the young kids, I'll give them cash just because it's, they can, they're young, so they don't need. Some of them don't have bank accounts, but just give them cash. They do some work. They'll paint. They'll move trash. It's just you just have to be comfortable with the neighborhood. So I look at the homes online, and I look at the surrounding area around the home. Is the neighborhood occupied? Then sometimes I'll drive around Detroit, just bust a couple blocks in areas that I see abandoned homes. Do people live across the street? Do you hear gunshots? Is it a lot of arguing? Is it loud or is it quiet? Like, would you feel comfortable leaving your car there? Right, that type of thing. Like, can I park my car in the driveway and go somewhere? Once I feel comfortable, I say, okay, this is the area I'm gonna take. I'm gonna bring folks in.
I see. So like, but okay, some people, they might look at like some of these like low price houses and scoff at the idea. Like, why would I
Yep.
purchase those houses? Like, what would your rebuttal be to them? Like, what would you say, like, to say, hey, you know what, you're not looking at it the right way? What would you say?
So yes, that is the that is like the catch. So you have to see past the trash. These homes are abandoned. They're trashed out. So this is what you do, right? You want to look at where the gas meter. You want to look at the pictures, obviously. Things that you look for, like, do you see water stains on the wall? Is it leaking? Is the floor moist? You want to look at where the gas meter is. Is the gas meter on the outside or on the inside? Because I think like 5 years ago, they became mandatory that gas meters had to be external on the outside.
Okay.
Gas meter on the outside or gas meter extension on the outside, I know somebody's lived there within the last 5 years, right? But if I don't see it, I'll say, okay, it's possible this has been about 10-year thing. Okay. So when they take out the trash, like a $1,200 to $1,300 job, about $500 to rent the dumpster, 40-yard dumpster. Like I said, maybe maybe 15 because you'll rent the dumpster and about $1,000 they'll clean the whole house out, scrape the walls. It won't even. It will look like it will be an empty canvas, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those houses are actually easier to do because you're putting everything in new from scratch. So if there's a problem, you know that it's there. It's not a problem because everything is new, which is why it's easier to pass Section 8 inspection. But if it is a midway home that's halfway done and you just slap some paint on it, you might find there's electrical problems, there's plumbing problems, there's problems with the water going out to the city. Like, so these are like they comes with their problems, right? It comes with their problems, but it's not that bad. You have to see past the trash because a lot of them, the best ones have the most trash. Does that mean somebody was trying to hide something? Okay. So when you look at these $1,000 homes on the internet or website, yeah, they will look trash. Actually, fire damaged homes are easier to do than foundation issue homes.
Really?
Yeah, because they strip everything down to the studs and they spray. They either kilt it or there's a spray that entraps and encloses the smoke. Then you just rewire and put the boards back. Again, depending on how many bedrooms it is, right? But for the most part, I try to stay between 22,000 and below in terms of a complete job. So this is why I'm like migrating toward smaller 2-bedroom homes. Just the last couple homes have been 3-4 bedrooms because you can get a little bit more on Section 8 based on how many rooms are available.
I see. Like, so like, what's the max that you spent like fixing up a home?
I got one home for 15. I've spent like 17,000 one home, so that was a total of like 37,000.
Okay. And like, what did what was the property value after you fixed it up?
That unit is on 7 Mile and 7 Mile St. Mary's. That area, so that house should go over 100 because it's a brick home.
Okay.
As well. But the tenant there is renting the home for 1,100. So right now I'm using that to like kind of like pay bills and do other type of things because it's a fixed income. Mm-hmm. So my ratio is for every 3 homes, one of them should be Section 8. So if you're going 3, just keep in the back of your mind, one of those I need to make Section 8 because I have the guaranteed money coming. So if like tenant is late with money, it's like, oh, I can't, especially during this pandemic, right? Section 8 has been paying, nonstop, right? Even though I don't have to deal with like, oh, I'm gonna be late or, COVID, for every 3 sections. So I need the money. Like I do, like obviously you don't want to lose money, right?
Yeah.
But because I was working, because I'm working, it's not living on that money paycheck. So it's kind of like rolling it over to the next project.
I see. Yeah. So like, I'm glad you brought that up. Like with the pandemic, like how was it getting like money? Like, were you able to get like most money from your tenants?
So only one tenant is missed 2 months. The rest of them have paid because it's low. But there's no eviction now. But I've been kind of working with it, so it's not a big deal. I'm gonna take the loss anyway.
Okay.
But the rest, Section 8, they've been, on the 1st and the 5th, they've been paying nonstop. So that's like they've kept everything up afloat.
Okay. That's good, because I know a lot of people like were worried about that, like when it comes to like this pandemic and everything.
Yeah, so that's like I said, that's why I kind of keep the ratio for every 3, one should be Section 8.
Okay.
Every 3 units you get, one should be Section 8.
So like, how'd you come up with that strategy? Like for every 3, Section 8 one?
Because I need the money. You need the guarantee.
Okay.
So like for example, my first Section 8 home is a 4-bedroom over there on the west side of Detroit, near Home Depot, 7 Mile near Home Depot. So like when I put it on Section 8, they moved in. It was an older lady, grandma, but all of her grandchildren and all of her, that's grandma's spot. That's where they go hang out. So anytime you go there, you can see 15 to 20 people, which is like, I don't mind because I know that, you just charge minor repairs like tightening the door screws or maybe a small drywall patch or thermostat change, minor things, but they've been paying consistently, so I don't mind. Like, and I had the hardest time getting someone to pay. Like when I first got that house up and running, I was only renting it for like $700.
Okay.
I was having problem with them paying, or they were having problem paying, and so they moved because the neighbor tried to run them out. So this time I got a Section 8 tenant. So when I got the Section 8 tenant, it takes an extra month to get the Section 8 tenant. So the 4 weeks to get the house up and ready. Then there'll be like 4 weeks for the paperwork and for them to come do the inspection and for them to move in. So if you're doing Section 8, you're going to miss out on a month. But again, these are all tax deductions. So it's not like the rent that I collect is essentially like tax-free. So all that.
I see what you're saying. Now, I'm curious, like, okay, with all these houses, like, do you deal with like a lot of different like expenses with fixing it up while the tenant is there, or it's like you haven't had too many problems?
I haven't had too many problems because when I'm building these homes, I'm building them from scratch
Okay.
with brand new, with new materials. So sometimes you'll have minor repairs, like your home will need a snake, or they'll need to snake the drain because they've used or they've put something down there. This is minor. You send someone now. You don't even have so managing the property isn't even difficult anymore because now with digital payment, you send the worker there. They take pictures beforehand. They do the work. They show pictures afterward of it working. And you cash out them. You never have to go to the place anymore. Confirm with the tenant, is it working? Yes. So managing properties isn't the headache it once was, where they call you and then you have to go run around and try and find someone to fix it. No. Once you get you a set group of workers that you could trust, you send them the job, they'll go fix it. Matter of fact, sometimes they'll call the tenant and arrange with the tenant when to come. You just pay them. At the end of the year, I give them 1099. It's incredible. It's incredible what it does for my taxes. Like I said, in first year in 2015, I was writing a check for 2,200. I said I will never write them a check again. So that's like how I got into business.
I see. So like, so you pretty much like you were trying to use it as a tax shelter,
Yes,
and then now,
exactly.
yeah, and then now it's like now it's still a tax shelter, but you're also now you're making money off of it.
Yeah, now it's grown, right? It's become a self vehicle that's just growing and growing.
It's grown tremendously from what you've told me, though. Like, yeah, it's pretty huge. So, like, do you plan to like be full time with it, or do you just want to just keep making a whole lot of money off of it, and still have other money on the side?
Well, my goal is obviously is to not work. I do this because I'm lazy. I don't like working.
Mm-hmm.
So this is why I buy and hold, create the cash flow. I'm replacing my income. So the income is almost just about negligible. But what I want to do is, I need to get more to create a lifestyle. Once I get to 30, then I will change. I will move it. I will repeat it in like other cities like Memphis and Jackson, because I'm going into these neighborhoods that nobody seems to want to get. I said, okay, I'll take it, because there are ways to get into real estate, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you hear say, I don't know if guys ever see those ads. Hey, get into real estate, no money down. You wholesale your first house. Do a couple wholesales, and then you get the cash to buy the house. Well, these houses are cheap enough for me to buy it with cash. So like when you bid on the home, they charge you bid with a credit card. They charge your credit card 1,000, and you bring the rest to closing. So you're buying the home on a credit card, and then the closing cost will be about 425, 421, and whatever the difference between 1,000 and what you bid. The opportunity is there for many. It's enough for everybody. I would just say that. There's enough homes for everybody.
I see. I see. So like was there any books that you started to use to learn, or like did you have a mentor or anything?
So there's a book called Rental Property Investing by Brandon Turner.
Okay.
I listened to Audible books, but that was a good book. That book explains like all the rules and the different facets or ways to get into real estate. So I'm because the prices are low here in the Detroit market, I'm using cash to get in. But like this is where I talked about like getting a cash out more, finance on a home that you've repaired, that type of thing. Like that's one method. But for me right now, I'm trying to replace a lifestyle. So I'm looking to exit the work field completely.
Okay.
Just buying and hold. Once I get to a certain number, not just replace, but replace income and expenses, then I will start to do fix and flip. Then I'll start to do selling.
Okay, that makes sense. That definitely makes sense. Right now, it's kind of like you found a niche right now, and you're mastering that niche.
I got a niche. I have a little. It's like buy low, sell high.
Yeah,
This is
I see. So like what other suggestions would you have someone who's like willing to come in? Because some people like are skeptical, like, oh, you got to deal with like the bad tenants. You also got to
That's
deal
not a
with fixing.
problem. Don't worry about what can go wrong. Only think about what can go right.
Okay,
See, because if you think about what can go wrong, something will go wrong.
that's true.
Believe that it will work out. Whatever you touch is gold. Whatever I touch is gold.
Okay.
Simple. You approach it with that mindset.
I like that. So what are the so like how easy is it for you to find houses? Like what are there specific things you look for in a house?
Yeah. So I look for cracks in the wall of the base. I look at the pictures. So most of these homes that I look for have pictures first before I even look at the neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
Look at the house. Then I look at the inside of the house. Right. The pictures on the inside, I'm looking at the wall. Do I see diagonal cracks on the wall? That lets me know there's a foundation problem, probably water leakage. I tend to leave those alone. But if the basement is dry, so then I start to continue to explore the rest of the house. I look for pictures where you see the ceiling caving in or like the paint chips falling from the ceiling. It means there's a roof leakage. So I know there's a roof issue that needs to be repaired. I look at the doorway. Does the doorway have a diagonal crack? That's also a foundation shift. It's also a foundation. I look at the meter. Where is the meter indoor or outdoor? Right. I look at the Google map of the address and I look to see if the houses around there are occupied before I go drive out there. You know what I'm saying? See if the houses are occupied in that neighborhood. Are there pictures with people sitting on the porch or cars in the driveway across the street or next to it? Or if from the Google pictures, is the house to the left and house to the right abandoned? Has it always been abandoned? I look at the year before and the year before that. I think Google allows you to go back like 6 years. So I go all the way back to like 2013 to see what the neighborhood looks like. Then I go out there and I see if like the neighborhood, how it sounds, right? Some of it is feel, right? You have to have a feel like, do you feel comfortable? Do you feel comfortable if you parked your car there and had to go work, right? The kind of feeling,
Mm,
if you have that feeling like, you know what, these folks are right here, right? Then that's a good deal.
I see. I definitely see. So like you would say one of the best decisions that you made was getting into
Getting the first one. You see, because I suffered from paralysis by overanalysis.
oh wow.
I was reading and studying and reading and trying to get ducks in a row for almost a year till you just jumped in and got that first house. Once you get that first house, you just jump in. The experience that you will learn from the first house is more than you will get from the book.
So just like sometimes you just got to jump in.
Jump in, and if you have a question, ask. Just ask somebody. Like it's amazing how many people are doing it that you don't even know. But when you start doing it, you're like, yeah, he's doing it. So you ask questions. Look, whatever knowledge I have, I will. I'm willing to share. Like, just mistakes that I made, so that you avoid those mistakes. I tell you, it's no big deal. Just call me, text me, whatever. I'll help you. But there are many people out there.
I see. Like so like now you talked about the what they call the analysis paralysis.
Yep.
Yeah, so like do you feel like when you jumped in you were like, dang, you should have just got in earlier, a long way earlier than before?
I should have. Back in like 2008 and 2009 when those houses were like $1 and $500 and $800. Yeah, I should have got it. I didn't know that you could buy them on credit card back then. So, but I thought you needed to have cash. I was just starting in an engineering firm, so I didn't really have cash to be expanding, and then on my own house and then my own family. Like I was thin, but once I crossed that threshold where I had to start writing checks, I said, "Oh yeah, I need to find something that's not happening."
So
Like
like
I said, everyone around me was getting refund checks. It's
mhm.
that tax season. They file their tax in December, looking for a refund check. And me, here I am waiting till April because I have to write them checks. And never again. That book by Tom Wheelwright, Tax Free Wealth, is even if you don't want to get into real estate, you need to have a LLC and EIN number.
I see. Just like because it's huge, especially with your high income earner. Just like
You call yourself a consultant and right off your right off your tax life. Like people laugh at Trump. He had to pay $750 in tax. That it's real and it's legal. I'm not nothing I do is illegal. I have all the documents, all the numbers to prove what I'm taking. The deductions I'm taking. It's very simple.
I see what you're saying. With that, like, so I was curious, like, with your houses, do you get them all in the auction?
No, so I got two off of MLS, right?
Okay.
Higher expensive, the more expensive one, the one that was 15 and the one that was 18,000. Those off MLS. The cheap homes I got were the ones were like 1,800, 2,000. Those were like from buildingdetroit.org, the land bank, Detroit.
Okay.
And then I got a couple. I took a loan on one of my 401k and got one for about 12,000. That too was also on MLS.
Okay, so like for the land banking, like how would you say, like how does that, could you like elaborate how that works for some people? They might not know.
Okay. So you go to buildingdetroit.org and they'll have a list of homes. They'll have auction homes and they'll have own it now homes. Homes that means own it now. So when you place a bid, they ask you to place your best offer on the home. So the offer bids start at 1,000. So you submit a bid of 1,000. It now jumps to the front of the line and it's now advertised for 72 hours. Looking, they're trying to get people to, bid on the house because they see there's an offer. And then every once in a while you get someone that looks at it and say, oh, someone bid on that house. That house must be worth something. So let me a bid on it as well. So if you see another offer come in, then you up your bid from 1,000 to 18 or 1,400. You know what I'm saying? Because someone will just go bid $1,020. Just it is what it is. But 1,400 is not that bad for a home, in my perspective. So bid on the house. About 72 hours, it will clear. You'll receive an email saying that you won the bid. When you receive that email, they will send you they'll send you pre-approval documents. They'll want to see your business Lara statement showing that you're active in the city of Detroit, that the state of Michigan, your Lara license. Because mind you, all these homes I'm putting in an LLC, right?
Okay.
Going to a personal name.
Yeah.
So they'll ask for your business documentation. You'll submit that. They'll determine you're eligible to purchase the home. And then about 30 to 60 days out, they will schedule a closing. Once you get a closing scheduled, right? Technically, you're not supposed to work on the house beforehand. But once I got the closing schedule, I'm hitting it. I tried to get it up and work, because after it's closed, the first 30 days they'll want an update. You have to send pictures that you've cleaned the outside and secured the property. But by that time, my house is just almost about done. So what you do is you get it done quickly, because when after you close, they're required to do an inspection. So BC will come do an inspection. They'll look at it and they'll say, you have to pull license for this, license for that, license for this. But if you fix the home before they even get there, there's less like, oh, you do this. No, they say, okay, that's a good job. They check it off and they proceed to the next one. Now, once you finish the home, you take pictures of the home. They want to see running water, electricity, and some type of heating element. And then they clear the house. Clearing the house means they then forward you the title, because technically their stipulation is they hold on to the title of the home until you complete the home rehab, in case they need to take it back. Mm-hmm. Once you clear the property, they give you the quitclaim deed title. When you get there, now you own the home, right? Then you just put a tenant in there. Advertise, take pictures, on MLS and advertise as a home for rent. It'll show up on Trulia, Zillow, and Redfin as a home to rent. Section 8, Section 8 accepted if you want to Section 8, but like I said, to keep a home occupied is not problem. Like I said, the inventory, the amount of homes available is the problem right now.
Okay, I see. Okay, so it's just right now, it's just like there's just such a high demand, and it's just like the supply isn't like.
I can't build them fast enough. I don't have it like that yet. Eventually, I'll get there, but right now, I'm still building as well. It's not. I'm not in that place yet where I can just close my eyes and say, okay, give me a week. I have a house for you.
Because right now for you it's 4 weeks, right?
Generally, it's about 4 weeks, 4 to 6, depending on how bad it is. But about 4 weeks if I have the capital. If I don't have the cash or capital, I take my time. Like I said, you have 6 to 9 months to do these land bank homes. They give you 6 to 9 months. And if you don't clear it in 9 months, you can file for extension. Like you file for extension taxes and get it. But like I said, my business model, I'm trying to get to the tenant and the cash as quick as possible.
So like how long is the extension?
You can get a 90-day extension, 60 extension.
Okay.
But it shouldn't take it shouldn't take 9 months to do it. Like if it takes 9 months, you might as well go in there and you can do something yourself. You can paint. You can, I've been taking some of the construction classes at the Detroit Training Center. Just in case I need to do something where I know exactly how something should be done. They have some classes on the weekend, drywall finishing, plumbing, electrician. I took some of those classes so I can see, just so I can understand, how it should be done. So when I'm hiring them, I know they're not cutting corners.
Okay. Do you feel like it's really like helpful? Like what's it called? Construction classes at Detroit Center?
Yeah, they were helpful because the house I'm working on now, I've done a lot of the work myself. I put siding on, done work, I've done drywall, like I've installed water tank. Like these are just things like as you pick up, like, oh, okay, I can do this, I can do that, like I can put up wall. Like these are like a hobby.
I see what you're saying. Now, what about like, I know you talked about, okay, you're talking about, I saw you talk about the auction side. Now, what about the own it now side? Like, how does that work?
That is the own it now side.
That's the own it? Okay.
Auction homes will generally, you're not going to get an auction home below about $10,000 because they clean up those homes.
Oh, okay.
So the auction homes, they'll clean out the trash and board the home up. The own it now homes are those homes that look like they're trash. They'll look like there's junk all over.
Okay.
I have a YouTube video. I have a YouTube link that I can share with you that you where I show how the house looked before.
Okay, yeah, share it and I could just put it on it. Yeah. Just send it to me and I just put it on it so they could see.
Let me see.
Yep. And then when you find the link, just send it to me and I just tag it.
That's what I want to do. Oh, you know what? Let me just send him. Let's give him this one.
Yep.
This is it.
All right, cool. Yeah, so like before I do like close, I was wondering, is there any like any suggestions or any like advice you want to get to someone who's like, hey, look, I want to start and what do I do?
First thing you need to do is get your EIN. So yeah, I have there's a series of things you need to do. First thing you need to do is get a mailbox or a business address. Whether you can go to the post office. I use Anytime Mailbox,
Okay.
digital, which is a digital application. They scan all your paperwork in, and you're able to see everything from the phone. If it's a package you need, they'll forward it. I get the address first. So one address is about maybe like $763 a month, or you can pay for the year 114. This is for the first address, right? You get the business address, or that address, that's the address you're going to use for your business. Then I use Swift File, or you can use Ink File. I use that business address and I use that address to create the business. Fill it out with Ink File or a Swift File. About I think like about 350 get rushed over 7 days. They do all the registration, get you the operation paperwork, register with the state, etc. And it's all digital. They give you digital copies, so you have it right there on your phone. After that, I get a resident. I denied their resident agent service because usually those companies that do everything for you, they'll charge a higher rate for resident agents. You go to online and you find a resident agent. It's just someone who can accept legal paperwork for your address. Usually about $50 a year, tops. You get that, you use that to file the paper, you have that under your paperwork when you complete your LAUR application. Now you have your business address and your LLC. Now you can start looking for homes. So the first thing you need to do is get your EIN number and your business LLC.
Okay. And then after that, then you can start looking for homes.
And you start looking for homes. Even if believe me, even if you don't do it for real estate, you start your home business, get an LLC, and call yourself a consultant. And if you're looking for ways to reduce your AGI, like I said, the book Tax Free Wealth by Tom Wheelwright, that's a good book to read. And Real Estate Rental Property Investing by Brandon Turner.
Okay, cool.
That's another good book to read.
All right.
Those are Audible books for me. I listen to Audible books because it's easier on my eyes.
Okay. All right. Thank you for your time. Thank you for sharing a whole lot of knowledge. For real.
No problem, man. If you have any other questions, you can send me email or text. No problem. If they just forward, we connect them to the people they need to connect them to with. There's no problem.
All right, for sure. All right. I'll talk to you more later. Thanks.
Yep.
All right. Peace.
Peace.